Night over Earth was calm. Cities were glowing with normal lights, roads busy, and people living their usual lives. Nothing suggested that something impossible was about to happen. But high above the clouds, hidden in the darkness of space, something huge was falling toward Earth. At first, only a single flash appeared, like a star blinking too fast. Then another. Then a streak of burning metal. Satellites detected it immediately. Inside the Global Defense Center, alarms began to scream. Unidentified object entering atmosphere. Size, enormous. No communication signal. Commander Daniel Rourke ran to the main screen. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes were sharp. Is it a meteor? The operator shook her head, terrified. No, sir, it's slowing down. Daniel froze. Meteors do not slow down. Only ships do. A ship that shouldn't be here. The object came lower, flames rising around it as it fought Earth's atmosphere. When the image became clear, the entire command room fell silent. It was a ship. An alien ship. Massive, broken, and burning. Its hull was cracked, pieces missing, energy leaking like blood. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the side, letters no human had ever seen. And yet, even in its damaged state, it still tried to control its fall. Small thrusters fired weakly, pushing it toward an empty plain outside the city. Daniel spoke slowly. It's not attacking. It's crashing. Should we fire missiles? Someone asked. Daniel took a long breath. No. Hold fire. If it wanted to attack, it would not arrive half dead. Everyone stared at the screen. The alien ship slammed into the ground. A huge dust cloud rose, shaking houses miles away. Birds fled into the sky. Sirens echoed across the city. But no explosion followed. No weapons. No counterstrike. Just silence. Humanity approaches carefully. Within minutes, soldiers and scientists reached the crash site. Bright lights lit up the field. Helicopters circled overhead. Armored vehicles formed a circle around the crash. Everyone expected danger. Everyone expected something violent. Daniel stepped out of his vehicle and looked at the massive ship. It was even more damaged up close. Holes everywhere, wires hanging, metal burned black. He raised a megaphone. This is Earth Defense. If you can hear us, we are not here to harm you. Show yourselves. Nothing moved. Then, slowly, a door on the side of the ship opened. A thin mist escaped, cold vapor from damaged systems. A soft glow filled the air. Soldiers tightened their grips on their rifles. Daniel whispered, "Easy, no sudden moves." From inside the ship, shapes moved. Not tall warriors. Not armored invaders. But frightened, weak figures. Small aliens with slender bodies and glowing blue eyes. Their skin was pale and cracked as if they had been through a firestorm. Some limped. Some held children in their arms. Their clothes were torn, dirty, and burnt. They didn't raise weapons. They raised their hands, in surrender. One alien, a female by the shape, collapsed on the ground, exhausted. The soldiers froze in shock. Daniel slowly lowered his weapon. "These are refugees," he said softly. The unexpected truth. An alien stepped forward, an elder with trembling hands. He spoke in a broken, glitching translator device. "Please, help, no home, no food, no safe place." Daniel's chest tightened. These beings were not here to invade. They were here because they had nowhere left to go. As medics rushed forward to help, the elder grabbed Daniel's arm weakly. "Not planned, wrong jump, wrong star. We did not mean to land here." "You came by accident?" Daniel asked. The alien nodded. "Yes, we fled. Our world, destroyed. Enemy coming. We escaped, but ship damaged, we crashed here, by mistake." Behind him, the alien children cried silently. Daniel felt something shift inside him. This wasn't a threat. This was a tragedy. Global shock. News spread across Earth within minutes. Alien refugees found on Earth. Crash landing was an accident. They are asking for help. People everywhere watched the live feed with wide eyes. Fear, excitement, confusion all mixing at once. Some believed it was dangerous. Some believed it was a miracle. But everyone agreed on one thing. This was historic. Meanwhile, scientists scanned the refugee ship and found evidence of something terrifying: marks of powerful energy weapons, deep scars from battles, radiation from a type of attack no human technology could produce. Someone had hunted these refugees. Someone powerful. Daniel realized the truth. If their enemy follows them, Earth is in danger. But he also saw the aliens shaking, starving, terrified. He saw how they huddled together like survivors of a disaster. He made his choice. Humanity's choice. Soldiers looked at Daniel, waiting for orders. Should they arrest the aliens? Push them away? Send them back into space? Daniel looked at the small group, injured, scared, lost. He looked at the alien children hiding behind their elder. He looked at the broken ship that had carried them through hell. And he said the words that shocked the entire galaxy. They stay. We help them. No one touches them without going through me. His officers stared in disbelief. One of them whispered, "Sir, the council won't like this." Daniel answered without hesitation. Humanity does not abandon refugees. Not on my watch. The alien elder bowed deeply, something from his culture expressing trust and gratitude. For the first time that night, the aliens felt safe. And the galaxy had no idea that Earth had just made a choice that would change everything. The storm had finally ended, but the city was still wet and quiet. Streetlights flickered, and puddles reflected the night sky like broken mirrors. Mark, Sarah, and the security team led the 3 alien refugees toward a safe building. No one spoke at first. The only sound was the drip of water from their coats. Mark kept looking at the aliens from the corner of his eye. They walked slowly, almost shaking. They looked tired, or maybe scared. The tallest one, Lyra, kept her hands close to her chest as if protecting something. The smallest, Rello, walked with short steps and stared at everything, cars, signs, even the rain puddles. The third one, Bren, stayed alert, watching the shadows like something dangerous might appear at any second. Sarah finally broke the silence. "Are you hurt?" she asked gently. Lyra looked at her with glowing blue eyes. "We are alive. That is enough." Her voice was soft but carried a strange echo, like 2 voices speaking at once. Mark exchanged a look with Sarah. These were not dangerous soldiers. These were refugees. Lost, afraid, and alone. They entered the emergency shelter, a small, warm building with soft lights and medical supplies. The moment they stepped inside, Rello gasped. "It is warm, like home used to be." Bren placed a hand on the child's shoulder. "Do not speak of home," he whispered. "Home is gone." Sarah heard it and her heart tightened. "What happened to your home?" she asked carefully. Lyra stepped forward. "We will explain. But first, we must ask something." She paused, almost afraid of her own request. "Do humans intend to harm us?" Mark answered before Sarah could. "No. You fell from the sky into our planet. You are under our protection now. That is what humans do." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Her eyes softened. "That is not what most species do," she said quietly. They sat together around a small heater. Mark noticed something strange. Bren kept looking at the windows, checking every corner like an enemy might attack at any moment. Sarah leaned forward. "Who is chasing you?" Lyra closed her eyes, then opened them as if gathering courage. "Our homeworld was destroyed by the Zorith Dominion. We escaped in a transport ship. There were many more of us, but our ship was hit. Only our pod survived. Then something went wrong with the navigation system. Instead of reaching the refugee fleet." She looked at Mark. "We fell through space and crashed into your world." Mark and Sarah went silent. Earth had always prepared for alien invasion. But alien refugees? No one expected that. Rello hugged a small metallic device to his chest. "They will come," he whispered. "The Zorith always follow survivors." Mark's jaw tightened. "Is that what you're afraid of? That they'll come here? To Earth?" Bren's voice was firm. "If they detect our pod signal, they will track us. They destroy whole planets to erase witnesses." The room went cold again even with the heater running. Sarah spoke softly. "Then why didn't you want to leave Earth earlier? Why didn't you run?" Lyra gave a sad smile. "Because running does not save planets. We tried that once." Mark looked at the 3 aliens, shivering, exhausted, trying to stay calm but failing. They weren't a threat. They were victims of something much bigger. Just then the shelter door opened and Commander Hayes entered with 2 soldiers. "You 3, he said to Lyra, Bren, and Rello. "You need to come with us. The council wants to question you." Mark stepped forward. "Commander, they're barely standing. Let them rest." Hayes's voice was cold. "Orders are orders. We have to make sure they aren't dangerous." "They're refugees," Mark insisted. Hayes stared at him, then at the aliens. "Refugee or not, they fell from the sky. That makes them everyone's problem." Lyra stood shakily. "We will cooperate. Humans helped us. We will not cause trouble." But Rello grabbed Lyra's arm, shaking his head in fear. "No. They will lock us again. Please, not the dark room again." The child's panic filled the room. Bren stepped in front of him. You will not touch him, he told the commander. Hayes frowned. If you resist. But before he could finish, the lights flickered. The room dimmed. A strange hum filled the air. Sarah looked around. What's happening? Lyra's face turned pale. That sound? I know that sound. Bren grabbed Rello protectively. No. Not now. Not here. Mark stepped toward Lyra. What is it? What's happening? Lyra looked at him with fear that chilled his blood. Our pursuers, the Zorith, have found us. The hum grew louder. The floor trembled. Outside, something unnatural lit up the sky. Earth was no longer a safe world. The hunters had arrived. The shelter shook as the strange hum echoed across the city. Dust fell from the ceiling and all the lights flickered again. Everyone inside froze, humans and aliens alike. Mark's heartbeat thumped in his ears. Whatever was coming, it was not human. Commander Hayes rushed to the window and looked up. His face changed instantly. Everyone stay back, he ordered, voice tight. Mark and Sarah ran to the window beside him. The sky was glowing a deep, unnatural red. Thin lines of energy stretched across the clouds like cracks in a giant glass dome. The light was moving, shifting, forming a strange pattern. Lyra whispered, "It is a scanning field. The Zorith use it to locate survivors on a planet." Bren's fists clenched. They are sweeping the area. They know our pod crashed here. They know we are alive. Rello began shaking violently. They will burn the surface. They always burn the surface. Sarah knelt beside the child. Hey, look at me. Her voice was gentle but firm. You're safe here. No one will hurt you. Rello tried to breathe but terror filled his eyes. Humans do not know the Zorith. They destroy everything. A thunder-like crack cut him off. A beam of light shot down from the sky and hit somewhere far in the distance. The ground vibrated under everyone's feet. Commander Hayes stepped forward. We need to get these three underground. Now. Mark looked at him sharply. Underground? What about the city? What about everyone else? Hayes did not answer. His eyes stayed on the sky. We deal with that after we understand the threat. But Bren stepped between Hayes and the aliens. No. You do not understand. The Zorith do not leave survivors. They will not stop. If we hide, they will still search. If we run, they will follow. They erase everything they touch. Mark looked at Lyra. What do they want? Why are they hunting you so badly? Lyra lowered her head. We escaped with something they want. Something important. More thunder cracked across the sky. Another energy beam slammed into the far side of the city, lighting the horizon. Sarah whispered, How long before they reach us? Lyra closed her eyes. Minutes. Hayes cursed under his breath. Then we move now. He turned to his soldiers, but before they could react, a deafening alarm blared through the building. A red emergency light flashed. A voice on the speaker shouted. All units, unidentified object entering atmosphere. Repeat, unknown vessel descending. Mark's mouth went dry. Is that them? Lyra looked up. No. That is too small. It is not a warship. Bren stepped toward the door. It is a scout. Or a capture unit. Hayes grabbed his radio. Control, report size and type. Static came at first, then a panicked answer. Something just broke through the clouds. It's not human tech. It's... The signal cut off. Silence. Everyone froze. Then a distant crash. A shockwave rolled through the streets. Windows shattered. Car alarms screamed in the darkness. Sarah covered her ears. That was close. Hayes motioned his team outside. Move out. Stay tight. Mark followed, helping Rello keep his balance. The night air smelled like burning metal. A few streets away, flames lit up the sky. A small but terrifyingly alien craft had crashed into the road, tearing through buildings and throwing debris everywhere. Bren stared at it with hatred in his eyes. Zorith tracker, he said. The craft hissed as pieces of its shell fell off. A bright blue crack spread across its surface. Mark swallowed hard. Is someone inside it? The hunters, Bren growled. A sharp metallic sound came from the vessel. Something was pushing from the inside. The hull bent outward, then snapped apart. A tall, thin creature stepped out, black armor, glowing red eyes, and a long blade attached to its arm. Its movements were smooth and deadly. Two more followed behind it. Rello whimpered and hid behind Mark. They found us. But something unexpected happened. The lead hunter didn't attack. It lifted a small device, scanning the area. A hologram appeared, an image of Lyra, Bren, and Rello. The hunters turned their glowing eyes toward the humans. Sarah whispered, "They know exactly who they're looking for." Hayes aimed his weapon. "Back up slowly," he ordered. But the hunters began walking forward, silent, cold, unstoppable. Then Lyra stepped in front of Mark. Her voice shook. "We never wanted Earth to be involved. We never wanted any of you to fight our battles." Mark moved beside her. "Well, you're on Earth now." Hayes glanced at him. "What's the plan?" The hunters spread out, blades ready. Lyra whispered, "If we surrender, they may spare your world." Mark's eyes widened. "Lyra, no. They won't stop with you." Bren agreed. "Humans do not understand. Zorith do not spare planets." Sarah clenched her fists. "Then we fight." A sudden blast of energy hit the street behind them. More hunters landed, at least 10. Mark inhaled sharply. "This is an invasion." Lyra touched his arm. "No. This is only the beginning." The hunters raised their weapons. Earth had seconds left before the first strike. The hunters moved forward in perfect silence. Their black armor reflected the burning fire around them, and their glowing red eyes focused only on the 3 alien refugees. The air felt heavy, almost electric, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Commander Hayes lifted his weapon, aiming straight at the lead hunter. "Hold your positions," he whispered to his team. But Mark could hear the tension in his voice. These creatures were unlike anything humans had ever fought. Sarah looked at Rello, who was trembling so hard he could barely stand. "It's okay," she whispered. "I'm here." Bren stepped forward, placing himself between the child and the hunters. "This ends with us," he said quietly. "They came for us, not your people." The lead hunter raised its arm, blade glinting under the emergency lights. It spoke, a harsh metallic voice. "Refugees, surrender. Earth will be spared." Mark clenched his jaw. He knew that voice was lying. Hayes lowered his stance. "We don't negotiate with invaders." The hunter tilted its head. "You protect them?" "Why?" Hayes didn't blink. "Because they asked for help. And humans don't turn away people who need help." The hunter's red eyes brightened. "Then humanity chooses extinction." Before anyone could react, the hunter leaped forward with impossible speed. Hayes fired first. A burst of bullets hit the creature's armor, throwing sparks, but barely slowing it. The street exploded into chaos. Mark grabbed Rello and pulled him behind a crashed car. "Stay down." Sarah joined them, breath shaking. "What do we do?" "We survive," Mark said, voice steady despite the fear in his chest. Bren and Lyra fought beside the soldiers. Bren shoved one hunter back with a powerful force blast, an ability he barely had strength left to use. Lyra grabbed a fallen energy rod from the wrecked Zorith craft and struck another hunter with a burst of blue electric light. For a moment, the hunters hesitated. Commander Hayes shouted, "Push forward. Don't let them surround us." His team moved fast, using vehicles and debris as cover. Flashbangs lit the night, sending shockwaves down the street. But the hunters adapted. One jumped onto a building wall, sprinting sideways like an insect before landing behind a soldier and cutting him down. Another fired a pulse shot that exploded a street lamp, showering sparks everywhere. Mark looked around desperately. "We can't win like this." Lyra stumbled beside them, breathing heavily. "Zorith hunters are not meant for open battle. They are meant to capture and extract. If they complete their mission, more will come." "And how do we stop them?" Sarah asked. Lyra pointed at the cracked scanning device still attached to the crashed craft. "That. If we destroy their signal marker, the fleet won't know we're here." Hayes overheard. "You can disable it?" Lyra nodded weakly. "Yes, but I need Bren. And time." Hayes shouted to his team, "Cover them. Everyone fall back to defensive positions." The soldiers formed a protective circle around the refugees. Bren grabbed Lyra's arm. "We move." Mark helped lift Rello. "We're coming with you." "No," Bren snapped. "Humans stay back. This is our." Mark stepped forward. "Listen to me. You're exhausted. You can barely stand. If you fall, who's going to protect Lyra? You need us." Bren stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. They ran toward the wrecked craft. The hunters sensed what they were trying to do. 3 of them broke formation and charged straight at Lyra and Bren. They saw it. "Fall back, team. Second line defense now." His troops opened fire, unleashing everything they had. Bullets, grenades, drone blasts, everything lit up the street in bright flashes. But the hunters kept coming. One leaped over a car and slammed into the ground near Lyra, sending a shockwave that threw them all off balance. Mark scrambled to his feet and swung a metal pipe at the creature. It hit the hunter's armor with a loud clang, hardly doing anything, but it drew the hunter's attention. The creature turned toward him. Mark froze. Sarah screamed, "Mark, run!" The hunter raised its blade, and Bren tackled it from the side, blasting it with a burst of electric force that sent it flying into a wall. Bren collapsed to his knees, shaking. "That won't work again," he whispered. Lyra reached the signal device. It was glowing red, pulsing faster. "They already sent a partial signal," she said. "I need 30 seconds. Protect me." Ace shouted, "Unit Alpha, form a shield. No one gets past." The soldiers formed a tight barrier in front of Lyra. The hunters regrouped, preparing to rush them again. Mark stood beside the soldiers, pipe in hand, heart pounding. Sarah grabbed a fallen rifle, even though she had never fired one before. Rello clung to Mark, whispering, "We should not have come. We brought danger. We brought death." Mark placed a hand on the child's head. "No. You brought a chance for us to do the right thing." The hunters charged. Mark shouted, "Lyra, how much time?" 10 seconds, she yelled. Everything slowed. Gunfire blasted through the air. Hunters jumped over burning cars. Bren forced himself to stand again, preparing one last burst. Hayes emptied his rifle at the lead hunter. Sarah took a shaky breath and fired her weapon for the first time, hitting the hunter's leg and staggering it, surprising even herself. The lead hunter broke through the line. It reached Lyra, and raised its blade. "Now!" Lyra screamed. She slammed her fist onto the device. A bright white flash exploded outward. The hunters stopped instantly. Their red lights flickered, then died. One by one they collapsed onto the street, lifeless. The scanning field in the sky faded. The city went silent. Lyra fell to her knees, breathing hard. "It is done. The signal is gone." Mark looked up at the dark sky. "So, we're safe." Lyra shook her head. "No. We stopped the scouts. But now the Zorith know we escaped. They will search. And they will come." Hayes looked at the aliens. "At least now we know what we're fighting." He turned to Mark and Sarah. "Humanity just took its first step into a war we never asked for." Mark swallowed hard. "But we won't face it alone." The night sky above the city finally turned quiet, but the silence did not feel safe. It felt heavy, like the world was waiting for something worse. Mark stood among the wreckage, breathing hard. The destroyed hunters lay scattered across the broken street. Their dark armor looked almost like twisted shadows. Smoke rose from burning cars and buildings cracked from the earlier blasts. Commander Hayes checked his radio again. No signal from command. "The network is still down." Sarah looked around. "Is the whole city like this?" Hayes sighed. "Probably worse." Behind them, Lyra sat on the ground, exhausted. Her hands were still shaking after disabling the signal device. Bren stood near her, trying his best to stay alert even though his body trembled with every breath. Rello curled against a broken pillar, staring with wide, frightened eyes. Mark walked to the child and crouched down. "You okay?" Rello shook his head. "They will come again." Mark didn't lie. "Maybe. But we'll be ready." Rello looked confused. "Humans do not have ships like Zorith. You do not have energy weapons. You do not even have shields. How can you be ready?" Mark smiled softly. "We protect our home. And we protect our friends." Rello blinked at the word friends as if he had never heard it used that way. Commander Hayes called everyone together. "Listen up. We need to move. The backup base is a few miles south. It's secure, underground, and shielded. We regroup there." Sarah asked, "What about the people trapped in the city?" Hayes nodded. "Rescue teams will handle them as soon as communications return. But our mission is to keep these refugees alive." Bren stepped forward. "Your base, is it strong enough?" "It held up during the last alien crash 5 years ago," Hayes replied. "It'll hold now." Bren looked at Lyra. She gave a tired nod. Mark helped Rello stand. "Come on, buddy. We're sticking together." Sarah smiled at the child. "We won't let anything happen to you." Rello whispered, "Why?" Sarah paused, then answered simply, "Because humans choose kindness, even when it is dangerous." Lyra heard that. A strange, soft emotion crossed her face. The group began moving through the ruined streets. Fires lit the night like small suns. Distant sirens cried in the background. Somewhere far away, a building collapsed with a loud crash. Mark walked beside Hayes. "Commander, what happens now?" Hayes exhaled. "Now, we figure out what the Zorith really want. And we prepare for the worst. You think they'll send more? Hayes gave a bitter laugh. Son, they already sent scouts. Scouts always mean a bigger force behind them. Mark didn't reply. He already knew the truth. Everyone did. The hunters were only the beginning. When they reached the outskirts of the city, the ground sloped down toward a forest. Hidden among the trees was a reinforced concrete hatch. 2 soldiers emerged, surprised to see them. Commander? What happened up there? Hayes answered, trouble. We'll brief inside. Open the hatch. The thick metal door slid open with a heavy groan. The underground base was dimly lit, cold, but safe. Concrete tunnels stretched out in different directions. Large blast doors lined the hallways. Sarah whispered, okay, this place really is a bunker. Mark helped Rello step inside. The child flinched at the echoing sound of his own footsteps. Bren studied the walls. Strange place, but strong. Lyra said quietly, we are grateful. Hayes raised an eyebrow. Don't thank us yet. We still need to figure out why the Zorith want you. Lyra hesitated. Mark noticed. You're hiding something. Bren sighed. We did not want to involve another world. But perhaps it is time. Hayes crossed his arms. Start talking. Lyra took a breath. We were not only refugees. We were witnesses. Witnesses to what? Sarah asked. The fall of the Varan star cluster, Lyra answered. The Zorith destroyed 12 planets in one cycle. They did not conquer them. They erased them. Mark felt a chill run down his spine. Why? They search for something, Bren said. A source of energy older than the galaxy. A relic from the beginning of time. Hayes frowned. And you found it? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. Or, a piece of it. Mark stared in shock. You brought that here? Bren spoke firmly. We had no choice. If the Zorith get it, they will become unstoppable. They will burn every world in their path. Sarah whispered, so Earth is in danger because of that relic? Lyra lowered her eyes. Earth is now the only place in the galaxy where the relic is safe. Hayes rubbed his forehead. Great. So humanity just got dragged into a galactic war. No, Bren shook his head. Humanity stepped into it willingly. You chose to protect us. That makes you part of this. Rello finally spoke in a tiny voice. And we will fight with you. Mark smiled. Good. We'll need all the help we can get. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the bunker. A soldier shouted from the control room. Commander, you need to see this. They all rushed to the screen. A live satellite feed showed a massive distortion in space, growing, twisting, darkening. Hayes whispered, what is that? Lyra's face turned pale. The Zorith fleet, she said. They found the sector. Bren clenched his fists. They come. Rello trembled. Hayes stared at the screen, jaw tightening. Then he said the words that would change humanity forever. If they want a fight, we'll give them one. Mark felt something ignite inside him. Fear, courage, hope, all mixed together. Earth was no longer just defending refugees. Earth was standing against an empire. And the real war was about to begin. The underground base shook as distant thunder rolled through the earth. But this was not weather. Everyone in the bunker knew exactly what it meant. The Zorith fleet had entered the system. Commander Hayes moved quickly through the main control room, shouting orders. Get me orbital readings. Stabilize the power grid. Bring the blast doors to full lock. Technicians rushed between panels. Screens flickered with strange symbols and warnings. Mark, Sarah, Lyra, Bren, and Rello stood near the center where a large holographic display showed Earth and the space around it. Sarah stared at the trembling image. That distortion, it's getting bigger. A technician nodded nervously. It's some kind of wormhole gate. We've never seen anything like it. Lyra closed her eyes, recognizing the pattern. It is their war portal. They use it when they want to enter quickly and destroy without warning. Mark frowned. How many ships can come through something that big? Bren answered in a grim voice. An entire armada. Rello grabbed Mark's hand. We cannot win, the child whispered. Mark squeezed gently. Maybe not alone. Commander Hayes stepped toward the refugees. We need everything you know about Zorith ships. Weak points. Weapons. Anything. Bren nodded. I will tell you what I can. He walked to the hologram and touched a glowing red icon representing a Zorith warship. These ships have 3 layers of armor. Human missiles will not break through easily. They use energy shields that absorb kinetic damage. Hayes crossed his arms. Then how do we hit them? Lyra stepped beside Bren. Their engines are their weakness. If you strike the rear energy core, the ship collapses from inside. Sarah asked, do they have any blind spots? Lyra hesitated. Yes, but humans cannot reach them. Only small, fast fighters could. And Earth does not have that type of craft. Hayes exhaled slowly. We'll work with what we have. An alarm suddenly blared. A soldier shouted. Commander. One Zorath ship just entered orbit. It's huge. The hologram zoomed in automatically. Mark's breath caught. The ship looked like a massive dark blade cutting through space. Sharp edges, glowing red vents, and a shadow-like hull that seemed to absorb light. Is that a battleship? Mark asked. No, Lyra whispered. That is only a scout cruiser. A scout. The ship was enormous. Sarah whispered. How big is a battleship then? Bren didn't answer. His eyes said enough. The base lights flickered again. A distant boom echoed through the tunnels. Ace stared at the monitors. What was that? The soldier beside him swallowed nervously. The Zorath cruiser just fired a warning shot. It hit the ocean, but the shockwave registered across multiple continents. Sarah covered her mouth. That was a warning shot? Mark felt a cold chill run up his spine. Rello curled closer to him, shaking. They always fire a warning first, to show they are watching. Hayes clenched his jaw. They're telling us they can destroy us anytime they want. Lyra looked at the commander. They are not here to destroy, yet. They came to confirm we have the relic piece. Bren added, if they confirm it, they will summon the main fleet. Mark stepped forward. Then we don't let them confirm anything. Lyra stared at him. How? Mark didn't know. He just knew Earth couldn't wait until the Zorath decided to attack. Sarah pointed to the hologram. What if we jam their scanners? Hide the relic? Make Earth invisible somehow? Bren shook his head. Impossible. Their scanners detect energy signatures at a molecular level. Ace turned to Lyra suddenly. Where is the relic now? Lyra pointed to a small silver capsule strapped to her belt. This is it. The heart fragment. The last piece of ancient energy left from the Varen cluster. Rello whispered, many died protecting it. Ace took a breath. Then we keep it hidden at all costs. The ground trembled suddenly. Lights dimmed. A siren screamed across the bunker. Commander, a soldier yelled. The Zorath cruiser is sending a message. Hayes rushed to the console. Translate it. Static filled the speakers, then a deep mechanical voice rolled through the room. Surrender the fugitives. Surrender the relic. Humanity will be spared. The voice paused. Refuse, and Earth will be erased. The message ended. Silence filled the bunker. Sarah whispered, they want us to hand over Lyra, Bren, Rello, and that relic. Hayes looked at the refugees. Do they mean it? Will they really spare Earth? Lyra looked down. No. They never spare. Rello said quietly, they lie. They always lie. Mark clenched his fists. Then we don't surrender anyone. Hayes stared at Mark for a moment, then nodded. We stand with them. Bren's eyes widened. What? This is not your fight. Hayes answered firmly. It became our fight the moment those hunters stepped on our soil. Sarah added, and we don't betray people just to save ourselves. Rello blinked, confused again. Humans are strange, the child whispered. Mark smiled slightly. You'll get used to it. Suddenly the hologram zoomed out. More distortions were forming in space. A technician shouted, panicked. Commander. More Zorath ships. 5, 10, 12. They're entering the system. The wormhole grew bigger. The first scout cruiser turned toward Earth, charging its weapon. Lyra's voice trembled. The first strike is coming. Bren placed a hand on her shoulder. It is time. Ace turned to his soldiers. All units prepare for impact. This is not a drill. Protect the refugees. Protect the relic. Mark looked at the sky on the screen, dark, burning red. He whispered, so this is how it begins. Earth stood at the edge of a war. And the first blow was seconds away. The night was quiet over New Earth Refuge Center. Soft lights glowed along the walkways, and the wind carried the gentle hum of alien instruments being played by the children. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. But humanity knew this calm would not last. The Council fleet still waited at the edge of the solar system. The galaxy still watched Earth with fear, anger, and confusion. And somewhere far beyond, the people who chased the refugees, the Archeal Dominion, were still searching. Earth's choice had shocked everyone, but the real test had not even begun. Inside a large meeting hall, General Reeves stood with President Hale, Dr. Marin, and Lyra's father, Kale. The tension in the room was thick. "We can't hide forever," Reeves said quietly. "Sooner or later, someone will challenge our decision." President Hale folded his hands. "Then we make our message clear." Before he could continue, the door slid open and Lyra stepped inside. Her silver blue eyes were bright but nervous. She held a small crystal device. "My people want to speak," she said softly. Cale placed a hand on her shoulder. "We owe humanity more than words." The group gathered around a circular communication table. It was linked to Earth's deep space transmitters, systems built to speak to the entire galaxy. Dr. Marin looked at Lyra. "Are you ready?" Lyra nodded. "If the galaxy wants to know why we stayed, we will tell them." The device activated, projecting a soft blue light. Lyra stepped forward, her small figure glowing like a spark in the darkness. The transmission began. Across nearby star systems, screens lit up. Council ships paused. Worlds stopped to listen. Even the Dominion patrols picked up the signal. This was the moment. Lyra took a deep breath. Her voice was calm but full of pain. "My name is Lyra of the Valari. My people did not come to Earth as warriors. We came as survivors." Images appeared behind her. Ruins, burning cities, families running, Dominion warships in the sky. Lyra continued, "We searched for help. But every world turned us away. Every door closed. Every council member said our presence was inconvenient." Her voice cracked slightly, but she did not stop. "When our ship drifted, damaged and broken, Earth found us." Another image appeared. Human rescuers lifting injured alien children from escape pods, doctors running, soldiers carrying supplies. They did not fear us. They did not ignore us. They saved us. Across the galaxy, silence spread. Cale stepped forward. "We understand the Council's rules. But rules did not save our people. Humans did." General Reeves now spoke, his voice firm. "Earth will not return them. They asked for safety and we gave it. That promise will not be broken." President Hale then moved to the front. His final words were meant for every leader, every world, every watching species. "If protecting innocent life makes us a problem for the Council, then the problem is not Earth. The problem is your rules." For a moment, no one breathed. The transmission ended. The room was silent, until the communication officer rushed inside. "Sir, we're getting replies from across the galaxy." Everyone turned to the screens as messages began flooding in. A leader from a distant system said, "We support Earth." Another voice, "Your courage gives hope to many." Then another, "If the Council punishes Earth, we will stand with them." Dr. Marin stared in disbelief. "They're choosing our side." General Reeves allowed himself a small smile. Maybe the galaxy needed someone to show them what real courage looks like. But then a different alert rang out, cold, sharp, dangerous. A red warning flashed on the screen. "Unknown fleet entering the solar system." Everyone froze. Reeves slammed the console. "Identify them." The officer checked the readings and his face went pale. "It's the Dominion." Cale closed his eyes. "They found us." Lyra trembled. "What will happen now?" General Reeves straightened. "What always happens when someone threatens our home?" Earth's defense grid came online. Satellites activated. Laser platforms rotated toward the stars. Fighter squadrons launched, engines roaring through the night. President Hale gave the final order. "Protect the refugees. Protect humanity. No retreat." Outside, the sky filled with streaks of light as human ships rose into space. Small, simple, but burning with determination. Alien children watched from the windows, whispering in fear and in hope. Lyra held her father's hand. "Will they win?" Cale looked down at her. "Humans do not fight because they want to. They fight because they must." Above them, the first bright flash lit up the darkness. Contact between the Dominion and Earth's front line. The battle for the refugees.